Hey guys, welcome to Talk to Me Tuesday. It's Tuesday, August the 23rd, 2011, and it's the first day of school. This is Jennifer. I have not a huge amount to show you, but I do have some stuff to talk about. So I wanted to first of all say super well spotted to everyone who noticed my t-shirt change last week. That was indeed the clue for the big project that's going to happen on Fandom and Stitches. And if you guys check the website or the Facebook feed or pretty much anywhere that I exist online, you saw that Fandom and Stitches will be bringing you a Hobbit theme block of the month called There and Back Again. And it will start October 5th, which is the very first October Wednesday. So all the block of the months for this project will be the first Wednesday of the month. And I am posting it on Wednesday because most of the people I think that are at least initially will be involved are people who have done the Project of Doom, and Wednesday has always been our pattern day on Harry Potter paper piecing, so I thought it would be fun to just kind of keep the same day. There will still be patterns on HP paper piecing, but probably not as consistently as we've had them since January. So myself, Lil Jabs, Misha29, and Shinley P are all the designers for There and Back Again. So we're working on that now, and we've actually made a huge amount of progress, and we will be more than ready by October. And this does two things. It gives us time to get ready, and it also gives everyone participating in the Project of Doom End of Days Challenge time to finish their quilt top before we start a whole new project. So hopefully we'll have a lot of people following from Project of Doom over to There and Back Again, because that would be really, really fun. I'm super excited about this because this is the first real big Tolkien project that I've been involved in online. I mean, I've done a lot of Tolkien crafts and a lot of other Tolkien related things. Those of you that know me in real life know that I have not one but two Tolkien inspired tattoos. So I am very, very excited about this. Tolkien's World, Middle-earth was my first fandom existence. That was the first piece of literature that I completely fell in love with. So very excited. I think we're going to have a good time with it. It's only once a month, so it's a minimal commitment. It's not going to be week after week for 30 weeks like Project of Doom was, but it is for a whole year, so I think we'll have fun with it. So, Project of Doom, I have been continuing to embroider on my blocks. Last week, I was working on this block. This is Standard Book of Spells, and let me tell you, I am so glad that Harry only went to school for 6 years, because by the time I finished the 6th book, I didn't really, there's no way. He would have had a blank book for the 7th. So this is done, and I did mine are all the same color, and then I did all the titles in various shades of blue, so you get all these different sort of colors. Now, all of my embroidery is freehand. I opted to do that really early on before I even started working on the embroidery, because I felt like since I drew all of these patterns myself, I really wanted to have freehand titles on all of the books so that it would be 100% mine. So, my words are not necessarily perfect, but all of my patterns are freehand, and I put, you can see that's actually upside down, so here's the right side up, and you can see I put the 1 through 6 across the top. Over the weekend I was working on Hedwig, and Hedwig only has one book, which is down here, and I did Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them on the book. But I started thinking about it, I thought it'd be really fun to compare. This is the block that we did for Project of Doom. This is a 10-inch block, 10.5 inches unfinished. This is the original Hedwig. Hedwig it's the same, almost identical pattern. I did redraft it for the Project of Doom because this was not intended to be straight originally. This was supposed to be a tree branch, so it's kind of wonky shaped. So I did redraft it so that this would be a book instead. But it's almost identical other than that, and there's more detail to the eyes. But these pieces are much, much, much smaller because this is only this big compared to the original. So I thought that would be fun to show you guys the original Hedwig and the Project of Doom Hedwig. I'm on week 12 right now with my embroidery, so I'm working on, see, I've done Spellman, Syllabary, and then I've done Where There's a One, There's a Way, Great Wizards of the 20th Century, which you kind of can't see because of my hoop, but I did put that on the block with the lightning bolt because it seemed appropriate. And now I'm working on Jinxes for the Jinx, and as soon as that's done, then I will be done with this one, and then Monster Book of Monsters doesn't need anything. Then I will be on week 14. My goal is to have 14 and 15 done probably by Friday, sooner if possible. I'm back in carpool again, so I will have more time to do handwork, so I should be whipping these out pretty quick. I got 2 more extra credit blocks over, these both actually came over the weekend. So I received one from Sewing Joe, and I received one from Meg, our own She Crazy 13. These will go in with my other extra credit blocks. I think I almost have 30. I will continue to collect these until December 1st because I want to make sure that everyone that's sending one has sent it in by the time I'm ready to start piecing this together. I wanted to make sure my signature block was in the quilt, and I'm probably going to put mine down in the bottom. And I actually drew this ages ago, and I just never got around to stitching it. So I stitched it over the weekend, and I did, like all my other blocks, I freehanded this. But I did put, I drew lines on a piece of paper and put them behind the block so that when I did my signature and everything, they would be lined up and nice and straight. So Saturday was a huge Linus day, and unfortunately I neglected to show you guys my Linus quilt last week, so I will show you a picture at the very end. I'll put a picture in of that. And it's actually a whole cloth quilt, which just means it's one giant piece of fabric, and then I free motioned on it, and I've been really working on my free motion stitching, and that's it's a lot easier, I think, when you first start if you aren't stitching over a lot of seams. So I have been doing, you know, just real simple quilts so that I can get my free motion technique perfected, and I am improving a lot. So I did donate that to Linus on Saturday. Normally we meet from 9 to 11, but this month we met from 9 until it was just almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And in the morning we did our regular meeting stuff, but we had a huge recycle day where people brought in fabric that they either had taken home from a Linus meeting or and they, you know, finished with it, had leftovers or decided not to use it, or fabric from their stash that they had just decided they didn't want to use anymore. And we had tons of fabric. I mean, tables and tables of fabric. And by the end of the meeting, the great majority of that fabric had been sorted. It had been ironed and cut into kits for Linus. And for anybody that wants to cut kits for Linus, all you need is 100% cotton quilting fabric, and we have cutting directions to help make pieces that will go into kits. They're on the Linus website. I will put a link to the Linus website, but it's under links. If you look under the resources and you click on quilting, it's the very first link under quilting resources, and it just says Linus quilt kits, I think, is cutting instructions, something like that. But what we do is we have very basic cutting instructions, and those cutting instructions make 2 different kits. And so what we do, we cut all the pieces and we put them in order by size, and then we take all those different sizes and then we sort them by color and by size in order to make kits for our sewing days. And so one of those is our brick quilt, which you've seen before. It's been all over the Linus Connection blog and when we do our monthly updates. And the other one is a new block that we'll be starting our next workday that we'll have that one available. And then there was also instruction for cutting binding strips, which is another way to use up with the fabric that you're done with, and you've only got maybe you have width of fabric by like 5 inches and you don't want it anymore. Well, 2 strips of fabric thrown in with several other strips of fabric makes a great binding for a baby quilt. And then we also were using AccuQuilts, which are die cutters for fabric, and we were cutting scrap pieces that were, you know, like this big. We were cutting those into tumbler blocks. So, which a tumbler block, hold on, I'll show you. This is a tumbler, and when you piece these together, you piece them like this, and then you do them in rows, you know, where you have one up, one down, one up, one down. So you end up with something like that. And then when you're done, you actually just use your rotary cutter and you lop off the edge so that it's straight, and then you can put a border on it or you bind it or whatever. But that'll be another kit that we will have. And I actually have a Wizard of Oz tumbler block quilt kit, which I'm going to put together, because if I can make a fandom quilt for Linus, why not? Because that's too fun for me. So that was a big successful day. And then Sunday, I was really busy. I had unfinished paper piecing on Sunday, and I helped 3 ladies work on their totally different paper piecing project. I think we had a really nice class. Everybody kind of got their groove on and got going and sewed, and it was fun. And Sunday the 28th, I will be at Honeybee's open house for teachers. I'm only doing 2 classes in the fall. I'm doing a blogging class, and which is in September, and it's for quilt bloggers. It's only for quilt bloggers. So, and it is a beginner, you don't have a blog, and you want to have one kind of class. So we'll be setting up blogs in the class, and by the end of the class, the blog will be set up, and the first post will be made, and there will be a layout and the whole thing. And then I have another unfinished paper piecing in November. I was going to teach some more classes this fall, but my 13-year-old is in the honors band at the middle school, and they have won a place at this huge event in Seattle in November. And there's going to be a lot going on for him. There's going to be a lot going on. I have a junior in high school this year. There's going to be a lot going on for her. And as school progresses, my calendar is just filling up and filling up and filling up. I have sat down probably 5 times in the last week to add more dates to my calendar for things that are going on in the fall. So I'm keeping my schedule a little bit more open than I normally would, only teaching 2 classes, but I think it'll be fun. Blogging is the first time I've taught this, but I think it'll be fun because it's something that I've been doing for a long, long time, and I've helped other people set up their blogs in one-on-one sort of situations, so I think it'll be really good fun to get to do that in a classroom type situation. So I think I've talked myself just about out. You guys have an excellent week. Think about there and back again. Work on that project of doom if you're working on it. End of days challenge is the prize for that is a free professional quilt job from Rock Creek Quilts, which is hard to beat. It's hard to beat having a free custom quilt job. And you guys just keep being crafty, and I will see you next week. I'm going to stop blathering now.